welcome back to Blanche Case Fitness. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for Jump Around, our weekly cardio class, and it's time to keep powering through April powers. And let me tell you, I was wiped out after yesterday's class. Holy crap. Oh man, that was an intense class. So anybody who was in that class, yeah, big pats on the back, big pats on the back. And, you know, it's not like cardio is going to feel any easier, but I'm excited. I'm so excited. We are going to be doing some challenging work this month, my friends, and you are absolutely going to feel the difference by the time we get to the end. Woo! Hello. I hope your Wednesday has gone well. Mine's been pretty good. I'm running interviews for a position at my company right now, and that is a little exhausting. And not because they've been bad or hard or anything, just it takes a lot of mental energy. So I sort of got done with them all and went, oh, I just need to like veg out on the couch for a little bit, please. But for all that, it's been a very good week so far, and I hope yours has been as well. It's still, you know, doing its weird little snowy thing in the mornings, so there was a little bit more snow on the ground when I got up this morning, and then I think it's supposed to snow tomorrow. Yeah, wow. It is not guaranteed. We potentially could have snow for the next 3 days. Not guaranteed, but it looks like pretty guaranteed that we will have snow tomorrow. So yeah, you know, it's fine. I love it. It's springtime. Colorado just gets its precipitation in the form of snow showers instead of rain showers. So, yep. Whatever gets us more water on the ground is something I appreciate. And I appreciate this class because I'm definitely feeling that need for class and for fueling myself afterwards. That's going to be a big thing. You know, I talk about it a little bit, and I don't dig a lot into food. I'm not a registered dietitian, so I'm not going to give you that type of advice, except to say that food is a critical component of A, our overall health, and B, giving us the energy that we need to do classes like this. So it's really important to make sure that you are fueling yourself for class. And, you know, I've said this before and I'm sure I'll say it again, but it can take up to 24 hours to fully replenish your glycogen stores. That's the stores that are then broken down into energy that's used while you're exercising. It can take up to a full day. So you don't want to wait. Generally, I recommend that you have some food no more than 30 minutes after the end of class. And we've talked about this before, getting some last minute fuel for class last minute. I generally recommend that you have something 1 to 2 hours before class. You don't want to eat something closer to class than an hour, because then you've got food, you know, bouncing around in your stomach, and that's uncomfortable, and that can impact your class, which is obviously not ideal. But you know, having something 1 to 2 hours before the start time of class. You know, I don't always remember to do that, but when I do, I can feel the additional burst of energy that I've given my body by having something to eat in time to get into my system. So yeah, make sure that you are having some good meals this month as we go through this, because you know what, we're going to be ramping up intensity, we're going to be working really hard, and you're going to need fuel. All right, super important. This can be something to inspire you to cook more, which is certainly something I'm trying to do these days in my life. You know, but also I'm a huge proponent of making sure that you can have food regardless of whether you're able to, you know, make an entire meal out of scratch or whether you have to buy prepackaged stuff from the supermarket or what have you, you know. Yeah, just make sure you're getting food in, you're hydrating yourself. Another super critical thing that I talk about all the time, Fitness Friend says, remember to hydrate. So these will be things that I will probably bring up again and again over the course of the month because it's just really important. It's important all the time, but particularly in a month where we are really actively challenging and ramping ourselves up. And we want to make sure that we've got all the water and all the energy to help us keep going with that adventure. All right? So always good things to think about, my friends. And yeah, just it's really important to make sure you are eating healthy foods and getting, you know, just getting your energy replenished, rejuvenated, something or other. But yeah, so here we are. It's week 2 of April Powers. So obviously last week was introducing us to the program itself. This week, you know, will be cementing of the program in our brains because this is the second week that we're doing the exact same program. So you won't remember it perfectly from last week, but as we do class today, it's going to help cement the structure, the exercises, the order into your brain. So, you know, week 3 and week 4 are where we really get to push ourselves and challenge ourselves because we've done the work and sort of gotten the pathways built in our brains for this program. And then we just get to let loose and have fun. So yeah, that will be what we focus on today. And then if you have any extra attention and energy, you can see about how you might want to challenge yourself today. Alrighty? I am both terrified and excited. Yeah, both terrified and excited. And I may futz around a little bit with, we're going to be upping some of the intervals, but not all of them. Yesterday, I sort of alternated back and forth between the original interval length and an increased interval length. Today, I think I may play around with it a little bit more. Yeah, you know what? The more we look at the program, the more terrified we get. So let's just get going. Let's do our pre-class checklist, everybody. Make sure you've got your water in whatever vessel you're using. Yeah, hydration, always important. You got your comfy clothes on, whatever that means to you. You've got your mat or mat-sized space on the floor. And if you use a fitness wearable, let's turn them on to high-intensity interval training and get them going. And if you don't use a fitness wearable, don't worry about it. All right, without further ado, my dears, I think it's time. Just take a second, take a deep breath, and you're like, okay, I'm here. Yawn. Yawn if you need to. And then take a deep breath. Yeah. All right. And now let's get going. And that, speaker is on. Yes, speaker is on. Good. Hiya. Awkwardly shoving myself over to the mats. So, we start, as we always start, with our warm-up. So on your mats, on your backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee, and as soon as that horn goes off, we will begin with hip rocks and bridges. There we are. All right. Yeah. One of the things, again, we talk a lot about learning how to listen to the signals that our bodies and our brains are giving us. And, you know, it's important to remind you and remind myself that that process is not a simple process. You know, it can feel very facile for me to be like, yeah, just listen to the signals and do what they're telling you. But it's you know, if you have trained yourself to ignore those signals, then it can take time to be able to recognize them. And B, even once you've done that work, and even once you're like, okay, my body is trying to tell me something, but what? You're not always going to have a clear understanding of what it is. There may be times that you're like, well, I think it's this, it could be this as well. You know, we are never being acted on by only one force, you know? So there are plenty of reasons why I felt a little bit run down after yesterday's class. There are a number of reasons that it could be, and not all of them have to do with the class itself. But frequently, even if there are, you know, multiple factors sort of causing a signal to sound, it can have a similar solution, you know? So, yeah, it takes time. It takes time to notice. And that's, you know, that's what it is. Just as with when we talk about form, when we talk about, you know, it's not that I'm asking you to have perfect form 24/7. It's that we're training ourselves to notice more quickly when we do start to lose the form and to pull ourselves back into it as quickly as possible. So you're gonna not necessarily notice signals right away. You know, sometimes you can go for a while and be like, oh my God, why am I so worn out? And then go, oh, you know, an hour or two later or a day later, be like, oh yeah, I had that really massive workout. That probably had an impact on it. But yeah, just remembering that there are many factors that go into how our body and our brain is responding to, you know, moving through the world. And, you know, it would be nice to be able to say, oh, well, you know, it's just because I worked really hard and that's why I'm feeling this way. But you might also be feeling tired and worn down because you deal with anxiety or depression and they're flaring up. You may be feeling tired and worn down because you're actually getting a little sick. You know, you might be feeling tired and worn down because you're about to get your period. Or it could be a combination of factors, right? So one of the good things to allow ourselves is to identify how our bodies and our brains react in different situations like that. You know, all of this talk that we do in class about recognizing signals, that's all advice and work that has relevance throughout all of our lives. It's not just in fitness class that you want to be paying attention to what your body and your brain is telling you. You want to be paying attention to it everywhere, you know? And if you know that you have reactions to medications, or you have a certain mental illness that you deal with, or, you know, any one of the bajillion other things, always remember to sort of factor those components into your interpretation of what the signals may be telling you. And it's a lifelong process. Again, you know, it's not like you're having a literal English language conversation with your body where you're like, hey, body, what's going on? Your body's like, well, you know, I'm just feeling really run down because that was an intense class yesterday. Like, it would be nice if it was that simple, but it sadly isn't. But, again, it's not that we have to be able to perfectly interpret what's being said all of the time, but having tools in our toolbox that we find have worked in the past for dealing with, you know, oh, I'm feeling tired. I probably need to eat something so I have more energy, or I need to take a nap so that my body can recuperate, you know, and just building out those toolboxes and recognizing too that what works today may not be the thing that works for the rest of your life, you know. That's the other thing we do. We really wish that we could find just hard and fast, permanent solutions that we never have to think about again because we found the solution. And that's just not how life works. So, you know, find tools for that toolbox and also try new things and recognize when something that you've been doing isn't necessarily working for you anymore. Even if it's something that has worked in the past, that doesn't mean that it works in the present, and that doesn't mean that it won't work again in the future, you know? Everything just ties into lifelong curiosity and lifelong examination, you know? I feel like as I've gotten older, as I've, you know, moved through my 30s, you start to see people in your peer group hit those points where they start to cement themselves, you know, and they cement their belief systems, and they cement their attitudes, and they cement their morality, and they go, this is it. I am tired of doing this work and constantly trying to figure out, you know, who I am and what I'm doing, so this is just going to be it. And I understand the impulse to do that. I do, because frankly, it can be kind of exhausting. It can be kind of exhausting to know that you're never going to have all the answers. You're always going to have blind spots that you need to be ready to come to terms with and to work through when they are revealed to you, and that the information that you have today may not be information that is relevant or valuable tomorrow. And that's really tiring. And it can feel really hard sometimes. And I get that. But in order to build the kind of better world that we want to see, and in order to build the caring and supportive community that we want to have, we need to be willing and able to learn and to be curious and to get new information and new perspectives and to update our ingrained information and sort of knowledge of how the world works accordingly, and to be called out when we fuck up, and to then make active amends and active changes, you know? It's scary. It's scary when you realize that it truly is a process that has to keep going for your entire life. But I feel that life is so much more vibrant and joyful when when you are willing to take those journeys, you know, and to bring people along on them. So yeah, it's an interesting thing to see, because of course it's a very well understood timeline, right? Where we see, you know, when we're younger and we're just taking in all sorts of information and all sorts of experiences, and then, you know, you either hit a place where you're like, all right, that's it, I am committing to open heart, open mind, constant curiosity, constantly trying to examine and improve the way that I interact with the world and the way that I impact the world. Or you start going, that all sounds like a lot of work, and I have been given these societal expectations that I'm not supposed to have to do that when I'm an adult. And that's, you know, it's something, honestly, that I think we just don't prepare kids for well. You know, we provide this sort of mythology that that kids, you know, develop when they're younger, and maybe we don't say it to them deliberately, but we don't deliberately address it either, and so, you know, we're not helping them to break it down. And that mythology is, when I'm an adult, I will get to have complete control over my life, and my actions will impact no one but me, and I will just be, you know, confident and knowledgeable, and, you know, I'll just sort of have a track and I'll follow it and it'll be great. And this is the mythology that we give to our kids, or that we just don't work through with our kids. And then when they get up, or when they grow up rather, and discover that, well, wait a dang minute, I was promised that adulthood was going to be easy and carefree, and I was going to have complete control and not have to worry about the opinions of others. But apparently, I am part of a community and part of a society, and I do have to, you know, hold responsibility for how my actions impact that from an individual level upwards. And that can feel like a little bit of a betrayal, for lack of a better term. You're like, I was promised ease, and instead I discovered that, no, I have to keep learning and being willing to learn, being willing to explore. That is something that I have to keep doing, even once I'm an adult. And yeah, not everybody gets over that, you know? I think a lot of people sort of hunker down and go, well, dang it, I was promised ease, and I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to ignore all of the reasons why I might want to not focus on ease at the expense of others, and I'm just going to settle down and focus in. Some people do that, and while I understand it, I still don't think that it's okay, you know? Yes, it can be scary. Yes, there is so much to learn and to strive for. And, you know, I know so many things that I didn't know even 5 years ago. And sometimes that can feel a little tiring, but the rewards are improving my own empathy, improving my impact on the world around me and the people around me, and learning how to be a better person. And that, I think, is always a worthwhile thing to do. Woo! All right. Good grief. Warm up over. Let's awkwardly scoot over to our water bottles. Yeah. There we are. That was a very philosophical warm-up. Oh, water. So good. So, we're going to be doing tapatas. Obviously, you know that. Some of them will still be 20 seconds of work to 10 seconds of rest, but some of them will have ramped up to 30-second work intervals, okay? So that's how we are increasing the challenge rating today. All right, and our 2 exercises for this first tapata, which is going to be a 30-10. As we did last week, it's going to be high knee runs and turtle planks. So high knee runs like this, trying to get the knees up above the crease in the hips or as high as you can lift them. And turtle planks, where we roll up under the feet, jump back into the plank, and then jump forward and repeat, okay? So those are our exercises. Again, 30 seconds on, 10 seconds off. We're just going back and forth between the 2. Come on, there we are. All right, first sound does not mean go. All right, that first sound is stop, relax. That sound means get into position, get ready so that the second that horn goes off, we can start moving, okay? And remember, 30 seconds may not seem like that much more time, but it's 10 seconds more. So we took half of the previous timer length and added it on. So if you need to start out by taking it a little bit lighter in terms of intensity, that's totally fine. All right? Always remembering that we're figuring out how to manage our energy throughout class. So our ability to maintain enough overall energy that we can keep moving for the whole hour of class. Woo! All right. There we go. And the other thing to keep in mind is that we haven't increased the rest. So we have added on extra time to the work and kept the rest the same. So it's a smaller proportion of the overall timer than it was yesterday. Last week, whatever we're doing. So all of those things are important to bear in mind. And this is the beginning of class, right? So we do not need to be sprinting as of yet. And this is also only week 2. So this is us sort of cementing the exercises into our brains and just really digging in and focusing on the form. So one of the things I'm noticing in myself today is that I'm not raising my knees up as high as I did last week. And that's okay, because I'm still doing the exercise correctly, and I'm still moving the whole time, and that is, you know, beyond anything else that I do today. My overall goal is, to the best of my ability, keep moving for the entire timer. So really focusing in on starting on time, stopping on time, and doing the exercise correctly, which is just always something that we focus in on, right? So, woo! All right, knock, knock, knock. So here is our final run through this set, and let's just focus in, make sure you're breathing, make sure you're feeling that energy, and remember that it is always okay to pull back on the intensity so that you make sure that you are still maintaining the form, okay? Because as you know, the form is really the critical foundation of everything we do here, all right? I would rather you do 2 perfect reps and rest for the remainder of the timer than to push yourself through and do the reps incorrectly and set yourself up for injury. Yeah? All right. Woo! Water, so important. Make sure you've got plenty of water. And if you have a tendency to run out of water midway through class, bring more water with you. That's the beauty of doing class in our homes, is you can have as much water taking up as much space as you want. All right, we are going back to a nice 20-10, 20 seconds work, 10 seconds rest, and our exercises are going to be, what are they? That's right, side-to-side mat jumps and push-ups, right? So the mat jumps, if I start on the left side of my mat, I'm standing on my left leg, right leg crossed behind me. Most of my weight is on that front leg, and all the power comes from it as I bend the knee, jump to the other side of the mat, tap a hand down just for balance, and go back the way I came. So there's that, and there's push-ups. With push-ups, we can do wall push-ups, incline off a piece of furniture. We can do our plank push-ups. We can do from the knees. We can do wave push-ups as we do in the warm-up. The only things that are non-negotiable, shoulders directly over wrists. So you've got that perpendicular angle, and keeping your elbows in, glued to your sides the whole time, so not letting them fan out to the side, okay? All right. Let's get going. So this is gonna feel like a little bit of a relief. Going back to our 20 seconds of work to 10 seconds of rest. And yeah, for our side-to-side mat jumps, spatial awareness is really important. So making sure that you know what is around you in the space that you are exercising in, and making sure that you're not in danger of kicking something over, running into something, and injuring yourself, okay? So for me, I don't have any furniture to worry about, but it's a relatively narrow room, all things considered. So I do have to pay attention and not jump all the way as far as I can, because I want to make sure that I have room to swing that leg behind me and not slam it into a wall or a door, okay? So that is an important thing to pay attention to. You know, when I was in the previous apartment, I would have to worry about, you know, bookshelves and electronics and all sorts of stuff. So it's much, much easier to just have to worry about the walls, because even if I slam into a wall, I will probably hurt myself, but I won't break anything else, and I will probably hurt myself less severely than I would if I knocked it over a bookcase onto myself or something like that, right? So, yeah, spatial awareness. And it's a critical piece of your workouts, no matter where you are. You know, when we're in the gym, it is a really important skill, because you have people moving through the space, carrying really heavy weights, and you need to make sure that you can predict where they're going and that they can predict where you're going, so that nobody's making any sudden movements that cause, you know, someone to drop a kettlebell on your foot or something like that. And honestly, in a weight room, I would generally always recommend having sneakers or some kind of shoes on. I prefer working out barefoot, and if I'm doing a class where everyone is in clearly defined areas and is not moving around, then I'll still be barefoot. But in a weight room, there are just too many unknowns. And it's just going to be safer, you know. Sneakers are obviously not going to prevent you from being injured if somebody drops a kettlebell on you, but they will be much more likely to reduce the severity of the injury as opposed to just dropping it on your bare feet. All right. How you doing with those waters? Yeah, I'm about halfway through. Always exciting. And just then I snorted a little water up my nose. That was thrilling. And not exactly what I intended to do. So yeah, let's get going with our next round. So we're going back to 30 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. And the exercises are going to be turtle jumps and shrimps. So our turtle jumps, similar to our turtle planks, rock up on the feet, then just jump and repeat, okay? And our shrimps are moving back and forth along the mat by engaging the core, contracting it, rounding out your lower back, and then moving shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips. And then when you get to the end of the mat, just take yourself back in the opposite direction, all right? So, yeah, turtle jumps and shrimps. 30 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. Water, hopefully not in your nose. That was not the go sound. That is the get ready to go sound. And we're off. And if you ever see me start or stop slightly early, it's just because I have the phone here with the timer on it, and so I can see the color shift that tells me that that we're about to stop, and I can also hear the vibration of the phone when, like, just before the sound comes out of the speaker. So I have slightly advanced knowledge of what's happening when, but for all y'all, just go with the sound of the horns, okay? When we get those timers going, I am no longer the authority. The authority is the timer, and you just need to pay attention to what it says. All right? Woo! We're moving along. Beautiful. All right. And we don't have a ton of major form stuff for our turtle stuff, except to say that core engagement is really critical for this as well, because we need to maintain the rounding in our back to allow us to roll back onto our shoulders and then up onto our feet. So whenever we do the turtle family of exercises, having that core engagement is really important. And I don't necessarily mention that as frequently as I probably should. So yeah, something to keep in mind. And then with our shrimps, as always, we have a lot of isolation that we have to be able to do, because we need to be able to move our shoulders without trying to bring along other parts of the body, right? And same thing when we're moving the hips. So it's an exercise that can take a long time to master, depending on what your fitness expertise is. You know, I think people with dance training have a much easier time with it because they are more likely to have been trained to isolate those body parts and to be able to move them without bringing along everything else. So if you're struggling with the shrimps, you can always start just with a boat rock, basically, and just focus on that boat rock and visualize for yourself that every time your shoulders come off the ground, you move them, and every time your hips come off the ground, you move them, okay? So you can absolutely just start there and not worry about actually trying to move, because yeah, that can take some time. Oof. And the other thing to think about is our shoulders just physiologically can't move laterally as far as our hips can. So we need to hold our hips back from traveling as far as they can go, because if we're, you know, taking our hips down the mat as far as they can go and our shoulders can't keep up, and that is how you end up turning in a circle, like a sailboat with only one oar. So that's things to think about. Oh, okay. Woo, there's lots of turtle stuff in this class. Dang, Blanche. So, see, this is the thing. Whenever I'm like, oh man, this is so hard, I have no one to blame but myself. At least y'all have a convenient scapegoat. I don't even have that. I brought this on myself, literally. Okay, so our next set, we are gonna stay with 30 seconds of work to 10 seconds of rest. Well, I know, I'm just wild and weird, but yeah, we are going to keep it there. And our exercises are going to be first jump rope. So if you don't own a jump rope, don't worry, neither do I. We just pretend that we have one. And yes, I do want you rotating your arms as if you're rotating the jump rope. And we do the jump. And then second exercise, turtle burpees. Again, up on your feet, back to that plank, wave push up, and jump, and repeat, okay? So, there we go. Jump ropes and turtle burpees, 30 seconds of work to 10 seconds of rest. Oh, and that sound did not mean go. We're breathing, we're getting prepped, and there we are. And again, in terms of form, obviously there are not a ton of ways that you can go wrong on this one. But again, that core engagement is super helpful. okay? Because it just helps to stabilize you and to create a predictable trajectory from when you jump up in the air to when you land, okay? And that is really helpful, okay? So make sure that you are engaging that core. I know it's feeling a little bit tired because it's been working hard, but it will still be very important. I forgot what I was doing for a second. Forgot what I was doing, and was like, oh, we're doing turtle planks. I just need to stop here. And then I went, nope, that's not what's happening. Oh, all right, checking in on your breathing. Obviously, this is a cardio class, so it's hard for us to to forget to breathe, but we want to think about lengthening our breath. So as we get stronger and develop more stamina, one of the things that you will start to notice is not breathing so heavily, right? As your cardiovascular system strengthens and is better able to take longer breaths and draw in more oxygen at a time rather than quick breaths. So when we have our rests, one of the main things I want you to focus on is trying to lower your rate of breathing and to lower your heart rate while you're taking those 10 seconds of rest, right? And it's hard, absolutely, but that is one of the biggest things that we're working on as we train, is learning how, not even learning how, but just developing our strength and our stamina to a point where we can work really hard, and then we can stop and almost immediately bring our breathing down and bring our heart rate down, all right? That's essentially the main purpose of the Tabata interval, yeah? It is to give us the opportunity to practice how we bring our body back down to more nominal levels after a lot of intensity. And it's a good skill. It's a very good skill. All right. Woo. Last time for our burpees. Oh man. How's everybody feeling? Yeah. Remember, you're working out at home. You don't have to worry about strangers around you. So go ahead and give yourself a big cheer whenever you feel inspired to do so. All right. I try not to cheer as much because, man, does it ramp up the auditory recording. I can barely remember how to speak English right now. So if you're feeling tired, then don't worry. So am I. All right. Now we will go back to 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. And our 2 exercises are going to be mountain climbers and bicycles, right? So mountain climbers are old standby. Remember, you're in that plank, shoulders directly over wrists, butts out of the air as you drive those knees forward. And then our bicycles, we contract the core to lift our back and shoulders off the ground. One knee into the chest, one leg extended but off the floor, opposite elbow to knee, and switch and go back and forth. Alrighty? So at least with this set, we don't have to get up off the floor. That's always nice. So, make sure you had some water. And yeah, y'all know that mountain climbers are one of my sort of I am scared exercises, because my brain is constantly going back to when I had not as much strength and stability in my shoulders. And so my brain will frequently tell me, oh, you know, you can't keep going, you don't have, I'm giving it all she's got, Captain. And, you know, I know intellectually that that isn't true. I know that I have so much more strength and stamina in my shoulders, and that I can maintain those mountain climbers. But, you know, when you spend a long time being worried about an exercise, it sinks in. And so this is a journey that I will have to be on for a while, and that's okay, absolutely. And I just have to remember to be kind to myself and to remind myself that I am doing a great job, even if sometimes I'm like, I feel like I should be able to push a little harder than this. I remind myself that I don't only have the goal of increasing my speed, I also have the goal of working through mental blocks with this exercise. And that is just as valuable a focus as trying to speed up performance. So if that is what I focus on, then that's great. And you know, maybe it will take me a while to get to that point where I feel more confident with mountain climbers, and that's okay too. If it takes me a long time, that does not matter, because this is a journey that I'm on, you know? I don't want to just jump to the top of the mountain
the rest of my life, you know? So it's important to remind ourselves that our journey through fitness can take a long time, and it can have steps forward and steps back, and that all of that is okay, and all of that is valuable. So yeah, if you have an exercise that you have that mental block feeling about, I recommend digging into it and trying to figure out what the cause is. Because sometimes what it comes down to is that you actually have, a muscle group that you need to strengthen, a joint you need to strengthen, and that mental block is sort of your body identifying that area for opportunity. But sometimes it's an artifact, Sometimes you've put in all that work and you're like, I got the shoulders, I got the stamina, and it's not that they don't exist, but I have this artifact mentally from when I didn't have those things, and that takes time to work through, and that's okay. All right. Okay, my friends, time for our last set, and we're gonna finish out with a 20-10. So a nice way to finish, just doing 2 exercises, flying chickens and a pulsed front superhero. So flying chickens, the feet jump out in the air, thumbs at chest height. If you wear a bra, you can hook your thumbs under your bra straps, and you flap your elbows. So out in, out in, out in, out in. And then front superhero, lying flat on your stomach, arms extended, legs extended, lift up and down and up and down. All right, so those are the 2. And this is our final set. So all that remaining energy that you have left, it's time to leave it all on the floor, because we got nowhere else that it needs to go. All right, getting ready, getting set. Again, as with all of our jumping exercises, make sure you're engaging that core, especially with flying chickens. We have our limbs moving out away from the center, and having that core engagement helps to snap everything back together, okay? All right, and then front superheroes, which are a very strange feeling abdominal exercise. And yeah, also they get a little bit of back strength in there as well, because you're definitely using some of those muscles to lift your chest off the ground. Oh, all right, and here we are. So yeah, this is the point, in the half marathon where you've got 0.1 miles to go. You can see the finish line, and you dig deep and find those last bits of energy, and you push through and just really ramp up the pace, sprint towards that finish line, because we have nothing left that that we need to save that energy for. We have made it through class, and it's time to just let it all out. So now, as we head into the back half of this timer, we want to get out our cheerleaders and put them on the floor next to your mat, next to your computer, your TV, whatever you're using to watch this stream on. They're doing incredible flips and tumbles, darting through the air and throwing their pom-poms all over the place because they are so proud and excited, and so am I, because you know what? April Powers is no joke. April Powers is a month where we really have to come to terms with some of the things that we've been holding anxiety around when it comes to our workouts. And it gives us an opportunity to say, okay, how do I want to grow? How do I want to push forward? And to do it in a safe space, because you know what? Our goal here is taking care of ourselves so that we can take care of all the people in our lives, our communities, our society, so that we can build a more just and equitable world. And it starts right here by demonstrating just what a badass you are. And I hope you remember that you're awesome. Woo! Friends, good job. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Amazing. Amazing job. All right. We're already on our mats. Let's do some stretching. Okay? All right. Let's start with soles of our feet together, letting the knees fall open. All right? Into this butterfly position. You can flap your knees a little bit. And we're going to fold over our feet. And the goal is to get our lower back, our stomach, as close to our thighs as possible so that we can get a nice deep stretch in the hips. So I don't want you to just flop over like that. I want you to start by taking a flat back position, and then, here, I'll show you from the side. And then walking your hands forward one at a time. I'm not perfectly maintaining the flat back, but it's helping to remind me to bring my stomach and my lower back down with me. And then when I get as far as I feel like I can go, then I can let my upper back curve over. And you'll feel the difference, absolutely. So take that flat back, one hand at a time, just walking them forward. Feel the increase in the stretch. And then when you feel like you've gone far enough, let your head fall forward, shake it out a little bit. Make sure you're not clenching those neck muscles. And let's take 4 deep breaths right here. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. All right. And roll back up. And now we're going to do our nice pretzel twist. So it takes a little bit to get into this position. So one leg, we're going to let the knee just fall against the floor, and we're going to bring that foot across the body so that the heel is on the outside of the opposite hip. So that's leg one. Leg two, we're going to keep the knee pointing up towards the ceiling. Bring the foot to the outside of this knee that's on the floor. So that's leg two. We're going to take the opposite arm from leg two, wrap it around the knee, and pull that knee into your chest so that you feel that nice stretch in the hips. And we're going to intensify it by taking this other arm and reaching it all the way behind us, okay? So we've got a twist in the spine, we've got a stretch in the hip. We're going to take 4 deep breaths here. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. And come back around, but don't unfold yet. We're going to take this foot and this ankle and bring it up on top of this knee. Keep the foot flexed to help protect this knee because now we're going to fold forward. It's like half of a pigeon stretch if you've done that in yoga. So we're going to fold forward and get a really nice deep stretch in that hip. And let's take those 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. And up. Unfold the legs. You can shake those knees out a little bit. And now we're going to do the other side. So same thing. Leg 1, knee lays against the ground. Heel comes to the outside of the opposite hip. Leg 2, knee points up towards the ceiling. Foot comes across to the outside of this knee. Opposite arm from leg 2 comes around, hugs that knee into the chest so you feel that stretch on the outside of the hip. We're going to then add a twist in the spine by taking this free arm and reaching it behind us. All right, so here we are, and we're going to take those 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. Turn back to the front. Bring this ankle up onto the knee. Make sure to keep the foot flexed and fold over. Get that nice deep stretch in the hip. And let's take our 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. All right. Woo! And you know what? One last stretch. Let's lay down on our backs. Let's bring our knees into the chest and wrap our arms around them. So if you can grab your elbows with your hands, do it. Just get that nice squeeze of the knees into the hip, into the chest, wherever we are. And rock back and forth, just gently, okay? And sort of massage out all those back muscles. And then we are going to keep one knee into the chest and extend the other leg straight along the floor. And I'm going to bring this knee across my body, get that nice twist. I've got my arms extended to the sides. I'm keeping my shoulders flat against the floor, okay? And that's a little hard for this shoulder that's behind because it's trying to lift off the floor so it can follow the knee. So what we'll do to help it is turn our head and focus in the opposite direction of this knee, okay? So I'm looking away from it. I've got this nice twist to my spine. And we're going to take those 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. Let your head turn, your eyes come back to the ceiling. Bring that knee back into your chest, other knee to meet it. Wrap your arms around them, rock back and forth. All right, other side. So keep that opposite knee in as you extend the other leg along the floor. Bring the knee across and down. That nice stretch and twist in the spine. Turn and face away from the knee to help keep both shoulders flat against the floor. And let's take those 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. Back up at the ceiling. Bring that knee in, other knee to meet it. Whew. And then rock back up, and we are all set, my friends. Woo! Oh man. What a class. Grab that water, make sure you're drinking some water. Gotta keep ourselves well hydrated. Super important. What a good class. What a good class. This was fun. It was hard. Don't get me wrong, but it was fun. And so that was week 2 of April Powers for Jump Around. So now we've done the program 2 weeks in a row. We did some ramping up today. We're gonna ramp it up again next week. So next week, it will be 30 10s and 45 15s, all right? So that's gonna be quite a change when we get there. But I know you can do it. You're doing such a great job. And you know, this is gonna be a challenging month, but it's gonna be a good one. Yeah, look at that. Look at your awesome facts and figures on your fitness wearable, if that's something you care about. If it's not, don't worry about it. Throw them in the sea. Can you do that? Not without throwing the watch in the sea, I think. And even then, it's on my phone. And even then, it's in the cloud. Yeah, there's not really a way to throw that data in the sea. Just don't get a fitness wearable if it's not useful. Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, my friends, that was an awesome class. And I'm freaking tired. Thankfully, tomorrow night is a rest night. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you're feeling pretty pumped and pretty proud of yourself, because I am definitely proud of you. This was a challenge and you rose to it and you did a great job, okay? And you should definitely pat yourself on both shoulders, because yeah, you're crushing it. You're crushing it. So we've got 2 more classes this week. Friday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time is Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training using objects you can find around the house. And then Saturday morning at 9 a.m. is the weekend kickoff, which is our awesome strength and stamina focused bodyweight class. So week 2 of April Powers continues apace, so definitely join for either or both of those classes if you can. And hopefully you can make it back next week for week 3 of Jump Around as well. Because yeah, it's a program. It's a whole cohesive thing. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All those handles will be in my end cards, but they are all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload all the VODs from these streams, so you never have to miss a class, even if you can't make the live cast. So definitely head over there and subscribe. If you want to help support me financially in making these streams, I have a coffee account for one-time donations at Blanche Case Fitness, or you can subscribe to this channel if you are interested and able to support me on an ongoing basis. And no matter what, your donations are always very much appreciated. And if you want to help me keep growing this channel and growing this community, then please tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for an awesome class. I stream 4 days a week. We have a great community here. We take care of each other. We grow steadily more badass together, and we figure out how to make the world a better place and how to keep ourselves healthy and safe within it. So yeah, I am going to go roar indeed. It's important, you know, this class, I can honestly say, well, this channel has gotten me through the last year in a much healthier way than I think I would have otherwise. It's been hugely important to me, and I'm really grateful for it, and I hope that it has been a resource like that for you as well. So make sure to finish that water, refill it, keep hydrating, make sure to get some food, start replenishing those glycogen stores, get that energy back for yourself, take a triumphant post-workout shower, the best shower of the day, and I will see you all back here again on Friday. Mwah! Have a great night.